You can say you're talking to me.
That's right. Chris Otey and Kirk Drake from CU 2.0. We are live, ladies and gentlemen, here on CU Broadcast. And happy to have these two guys here. A couple of fine folks in the industry, always pushing that proverbial envelope, and we always enjoy that. And it's something that the industry needs on a daily basis. And these guys are here to fulfill those needs and then some. So Kirk, Chris, how are you guys doing today?
Unbelievable.
Really?
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable. Right. He's unbelievable because his son got to go play Bandon Dunes golf course as part of his high school. And he won
his first tournament. Oh, he's like, the other kid just totally botched it. It wasn't.
Well, sorry.
Like that. Yeah.
Oh, goodness me. Well, hey, thanks for coming in. I know you guys are up to your earlobes and things to do today. And as usual, your schedules are filled to the brim. But hey, just want to take a few minutes to talk about your upcoming third annual CU 2.0 live experience. And we'll put a little slide up here so people can check it out. So actually, it's right behind me, but here's a better look at it. And you guys obviously been doing this for 3 years. This will be the third year. And it's going to be taking place June 4th through the 7th. In Arizona this year, obviously. So Kirk, Chris, who wants to go first? Who wants to give us a quick overview of this event? Because it's an event like none other.
Yes. I'll jump in first. So this has been modeled after some of the stuff that I've done in the entrepreneurial world, where you're really able to bring masterminds and great expertise kind of to bear and very quickly learn, digest, change your view, minds, etc. on things. And so we tend to, we have an agenda. This year is very focused on AI, fintech. How do we kind of lead into tomorrow's kind of credit universe? I think artificial intelligence is going to be extremely disruptive in the next 10 years. Already has, and I think that's going to continue. So is everybody who's betting that fintechs were going to die with the liquidity crisis have been proven wrong. It's still coming, and we still come across 10 new ones every single week, and they're good ideas. And so we bring a lot of those entrepreneurs to the room. We bring industry speakers and leaders, and really basically it's designed to be the thought leaders and the viewpoints of tomorrow all in a room with a really intimate setting, no more than 40, 50 people, totally curated thought agendas, speaking. Most people there are part of the event and attending the event, and designed to really kind of walk out of there and be the main thing you think about for the next 6 to 12 months, because something there has changed your perspective, dynamic, et cetera in that.
Yeah.
And so this year is a little different. We put a little more structure and thought into the agenda in advance. So you can read about that a little bit on the website. So it's less of, it used to always be, hey, the whole agenda is a surprise. Come see what's going to happen, right? And we're not going to tell you. If you have to ask, we can't tell you. This year, we're putting a lot more meat on the bone related to that, to talk about that a bit. And then, of course, I bring wine from the winery, so that always makes for a good time. We won Oregon Wine Experience's best red wine last year. So for the wine that you always like, Mike,
love it.
You have great
taste. Yes.
Yeah.
My favorite. Oh my gosh.
Not what Chris likes, though. They won't drink. They won't.
Well, I have to, before we move on, Kirk, you're sitting there on the haystack there, right in the middle there on the right a little bit with the red cowboy hat on. That's a good look.
It is a good look.
Really good look.
Yeah. No, I'll own it.
It's not a good look.
So I'm taking this as one of the events outings you guys probably had. This is like maybe last year, the year before. So
last year we ended up at a dude ranch for a bit. It was too windy to do horseback riding, but people weren't going to be able to do horseback riding. Instead, we got to do a lot of stuff indoors. The year before, we went to a stunt ranch. That was really cool. So you got to jump off a building or hit Brian Lauer on the head with a fake glass bottle. So it's very satisfying. So
that's a very enjoyable experience right there for sure. So can we divulge where in Arizona it is, or is this still under wraps, or?
No, I think we can tell the location, assuming one of the two of us knows it. Chris, do you know the location?
It's in Scottsdale. I think we're still doing it at that Eagle Mountain place.
Yeah.
Out in the outskirts of Scottsdale. It's a great location. It's an intimate setting, and it fits in with what we're trying to do here, right? So it's a highly curated event. It's invite only. There's an application process. And what we're really trying to do is most meetings, most conferences you go to, if you go to a room and they have a roundtable panel discussion, you got 3 to 50 people that all do the same thing every day, talking about what they do, right? And this room is not that. This room is fintech executives mixed together with credit union executives, right? So everybody does different things, and that's where the learning actually happens, right? And when we put it together, right, it'd be easy to go to like our friends at SRM and say, hey, you want to be the title sponsor, give us 50, 100 grand, you can be the title sponsor. Then guess what happens? Then we got to put them on stage and we got to let them talk, and that's not providing value, right? People buying their way on stages has always been my pet peeve in the industry. I can't tell you how many people I've seen on stage talking about stuff I really don't need to know about, right? Nothing I couldn't get from their website. So what is that?
Do you hear that? Oh,
I do.
I apologize. Doing some construction upstairs.
Oh, that's nice.
It's been super quiet the entire morning. And then right when I turn on the live button,
dude, we're live. We're live.
Jackhammer going on upstairs. So hopefully.
Okay, cool. I just want to make sure it wasn't me.
To all the folks out there, and to you, Chris, I apologize for.
Oh, don't worry about it.
Your train of thought.
Don't worry about. Hey, I don't often have a cohesive train of thought. I just talk, right? So
that's why we have you on.
Yeah, but I think the point I was trying to get is this is unlike any other conference you're ever going to go to, right? And that's the beauty and the curse of working with Kirk Drake is you're going to do some stuff that you're really uncomfortable doing. And that's where you learn, right? And that's how you grow. And the community we create coming out of that space, you can talk to anybody who's been the last couple of years. That's a little community, right? Those first year was 35, 40 people. Last year was 50 people. This year, we'll probably cap it. I don't think we'll go north of 60 people. 50 is probably the ideal number. And Kirk does a good job of highly curating the event, right? So even the dinners and who you sit next to at dinner, there's a reason why we put you next to that person. If we took Mike Lawson and we put him next to Ann Legg, right, at dinner, there's a reason why you two are sitting next to each other, and you got to figure it out why it is. Now, that one's easy because you're both based in San Diego, but you get the point, right? That there's some commonality between the people, and it creates an environment and it creates a community. So if you see the CU2 live participants throughout the year at different conferences, that you automatically have your own little community.
Well, can you give me an example of like what would be, because you mentioned earlier that there's kind of some exercises or some things that will kind of push you outside your comfort zone, I guess, or can you give an example of what that would be? I don't want to steal all your thunder, obviously.
No, they're different they're different every year. There's no, we kind of take the things, because there's like two or three premises. One, if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. Right, you're not going to grow or learn in that environment. So it's our job to make sure we're bringing lots of smart people to that room. The second piece is those people have to have a mindset of, let's say you took 150 people, 50 at the beginning of the game, 50 at the middle of the game, 50 at the top of the game. It's the job of the 50 at the top to help the people in the middle to help the people at the bottom, and to teach them the best things and skills and learns and elevate all of us in that. So those are kind of two guiding principles. All of that, though, requires a great deal of trust and relationship in that, because I think back to when I first founded OGO, what I found is the commonality of the first four credit unions to say yes was they had all worked together on a shared branching project prior to me coming to them with the idea of OGO. So they'd been on boards, they trusted each other, and they had that. They knew who was good in bad situations, right? And who was bad in bad situations that you didn't want to have in that room. And that trust is what allowed them to take the leap of faith and do something interesting and collaborative and change the industry. And so the way to build trust, we have found, is to start with getting to vulnerability quickly, right? And vulnerability means we need to remove the facades that we all build up, the things that we try to showcase and say, we spend most of our time, especially in the credit union industry, saying, this is our brand and here's all the things that we're great at. We don't spend a lot of time talking about the things that we're not great at, right? And those can be personal, professional, family. They can be all sorts of different things. And so we have different exercises. One we did, which will terrify some people. And I would tell you, if it terrifies you, you should probably do it, like that. Override your mammalian brain and say, hey, if that's terrifying me, the journey is through the pain, right?
That's where you grow for sure. Yeah. Yep.
So we started with a timeline of your life, and you chart all the highs and lows on your life. And then you have a small intimate group and you share the highs and lows of your life. And what you find very quickly is if you and I were to do that right now, we would tell each other's things that we've probably not talked about or told anybody else in 20 or 30 years. Things that were negative from our childhood, things that were positive, those kind of things. And so within a span of an hour or two, now you have this cohort, this group of 5 or 6 people that know you better than some of your best friends today, right? And when you have that, now you have trust, and now you can move on to the next thing. Now we don't repeat these things, right? So it'll be a different exercise and way of kind of getting there, because half the fun is the surprise, right? Of what crazy way is Kirk gonna make us do this time? But those outcomes and that relationship that's built from that ends up being an unbelievable tool in the toolkit to building and changing the industry.
So who is the ideal attendee to go to this event? Who are you guys looking for to invite?
Chris, you want to grab that one?
Yeah, we're looking for people that want to do things differently. People with a fail forward fast mentality. We're not looking for the same person who's been doing the same thing the same way for the last 25 years, right? You're not going to get any value out of it. You're not going to give any value to it, right? What we're looking for is people. The interesting thing about the way we do this is everybody is a collaborator in the room, right? Everybody brings something to the table that's of value to that room. That's what makes it truly unique in conferences, right? You've been to a bunch of conferences where if there's 100 people in a room at a breakout session, there's 98 of them that aren't bringing any value. They're just there to listen to the one person who paid 10 grand to get on stage and talk about whatever they talk about, right?
Yeah.
This isn't that. Everybody in there's got something to bring. We have, credit union CEOs. One of the most valuable sessions we did was So You Want to Be a CEO, right? Remember that, Kirk, when we did that one, and we had some people who'd gone through that process before, both recently and decades ago, talk about how to do that, whether that's becoming a fintech CEO or a credit union CEO. But walking through that process and the lessons learned from it helped the bottom rung move up to the middle, and the middle move up to the top. And some of those people that were in that session are now CEOs.
Wow.
The other one we did last year that was really, really good was early January ChatGPT generative AI session before anybody was talking about it. And you saw this hands-on first world experience of how this was going to change things. And I'll tell you, every single person in that room walked out of there with a completely different perspective on what this is going to be. And they had tangible skills around how to, not just about how to have ChatGPT write you a silly song about banks versus credit unions, right? But to dive into, how do I use this in my job? How do I change the prompt architecture? What are the elements of a prompt? All of those kinds of things, kind of that firsthand. And the beauty is you see, 20, 30 credit union executives talking about how they're going to use it at their shop,
right here,
skills. And then you've got 20 or 30 entrepreneurs who are already doing it, right? And are able to show that hands-on piece of it and show how they're building businesses leveraging these tools. Because I always like to go through if you were to start your credit union today, knowing what you know now, what would you do different? Right? You would build it all cloud-based. It would be very heavily AI reliant. You wouldn't have a call center, right? It'd be digital first. You would go through a whole series of principles and build it entirely off of that model. And that, by the way, that's who your disruption is going to come from. The people who are starting it right now. And so you got to be aware and understand what those dynamics are and be thinking about that kind of in real time.
So what's the big audacious goal you guys want to achieve with this event? I mean, obviously you got 2 under your belt so far. It sounds like they've been super successful. What's in store for the third one? What do you guys want to achieve here? Obviously talk about what people aren't talking about or that type of stuff, or what's the bigger goal? Or I'm sure there's many goals that you guys, or even takeaways as well.
There's 3 big circles we're focused on. So one, and they kind of collide in different ways. So one is super AI. How do you have the skill sets for tomorrow that you need? I know I'm saving 3 to 4 hours a day using a combination of different AI tools, and it's really making me way more effective in my role in all the different fintechs and credit unions that we work with. So sharing that, we've got Sroop coming back, who did an amazing job last year, and we've got a couple credit union leaders kind of pitching and showing some of the things that they've done in their environments. We have a second section that's very CEO of tomorrow, right? So there'll be a bunch of topics around forward-thinking, future-focused energy around where we're going to be in 10 years and how to kind of prep your credit union and kind of be in that direction in general. That will include the board of tomorrow, a whole bunch of different kind of subtopics within that. Okay. And then the third big bucket is fintech entrepreneurship doing hard stuff, right? And so I've got a friend of mine that literally takes people about 10 at a time and does crazy adventures. Like, you want to walk on the wing of an airplane? This is your guy that's going to take you on a trip to do that. Now, I'm not saying we're going to do anything like that at this event.
You have to sign a waiver?
Yeah. But
yes,
he is great on the mindset of how do you tackle these big, crazy, audacious goals, and how do you get yourself psyched up, and how do you overcome these internal obstacles?
Years,
and then everything will be kind of themed in that on entrepreneurship and fintechs, and how to have credit unions and fintechs work more closely together, launch more pilots, get things from early stage adoption to visionary to early stage to late adoption. And how do we really make credit unions the center of the universe and innovation for fintechs and AI, right? And there's a whole bunch of different things we'll have planned around those kind of 3 big topics.
Which I think relates really well to what people are thinking about AI right now, because a lot of people are excited about it, sure, the potential, but are a bit scared of it as well, and are like, they're kind of tiptoeing into this when they should be kind of running toward it, I think. So, I mean, that's just my opinion, but I think we need to get on this pretty quickly. But I'm kind of equating it to like getting over your fears, and then let's get as aware and educated as possible, and then let's dive in. So,
and then having the community come out of this that you use for the next 12 months until we do it again. That community is a mix of, like, it's great. I'm the chairman of the board of South Bay Credit Union, and there's a bunch of other board chairmen I can talk to, but we're all going to talk about the same thing and have the same issues.
Yep.
The value for me is that I can call Peter Rhines, who's a fintech entrepreneur starting a company called Jupiter. I can call him and talk about growing things. And I can call, Gary Jeter over at TrueStone when I've got questions about credit. And they can call me when they have questions about, hey, we're looking at a new account opening thing, or, hey, we're thinking of partnering with this fintech. How do we structure the contract, right? It's that community that we've created, that cross-section community of fintechs and credit unions that are all working together. That's the real value.
Yeah, you're taking that collaboration aspect and really taking it to another level for sure. And what other industry can you really do that in? Credit union industry is pretty unique in that area for sure. And you guys are really taking advantage of it and leveraging it to its full hilt. So in the beginning, you talked about inviting folks. So who do you invite, or can people inquire, hey, I want to attend this, or how do they go about, getting interested and getting your attention to go to this?
Yeah. So if you go to our website, cu-2.com/cu2-live, a little wordy, you can go put it in the chat.
Seriously? That's the link.
I'll put it in the show notes and just click on it.
You can apply there, and it's really open to anybody in the industry. It's not cheap, right? So this is going to cost you a little bit of money to be at it. We're not looking to make a ton of money on it, but it costs a lot of money to put on a highly curated event that is one of a kind, right? So you can apply there. We're looking for the people who want to change the world, who and want to change credit unions, who feel like the rest of their credit union maybe isn't seeing it, and they need tactics, techniques, approaches to kind of help it. They're fintech leaders, or they're chief innovation officers, or chief strategy officers, where they're really trying to get ahead and see where the puck's going and be there and help their organizations be ready for this, right?
Yeah.
Of course, CEOs, chief strategy officers, CTOs, et cetera, all those people. But at the end of the day, it comes down to growth-oriented, action-oriented people.
Right? Well, and this sounds like it's well worth the investment, because it's not only gonna help you grow in those 3 days that you're there. Yeah. But like what Chris was talking about, for the rest of the year, you have this community that you've bonded with and can bounce things off of. Yeah. So I think it's well worth the investment.
And it is so much data that supports that we are the combination of our 5 closest friends, right? Yep. Whether it's financially, health-wise, there's so many things that say those 5 or 6 people. I think the best example I always heard, if you want to be a great dad, you have to hang around great dads. If you want to be a great husband, the Divorced Dad Club is probably not the place to be. If you want to be and so building that peer group of other people doing hard, great things is essential for you to be able to do hard, great things. Yeah. And the reality is, at least, in Southern Oregon, there's 2 or 3, there aren't 50, right? And, like depending on where you are, it's harder to find those people that are doing great, interesting things that you can put yourself in that are both going to challenge you and that you can challenge.
Indeed. And that's why I have you guys on today, because I want to hang around with you guys more. So I want to be more like you. So, all right, guys. Well, most of the time. Well, anyway, I know you guys are up to your earlobes and stuff to do. Just want to thank you guys for not only taking time out of your day to chat with us today live, actually, and then also to really talk about some important stuff here that you guys are going to be working on at the CU 2.0 live experience taking place June 4th through the 7th, 2024 in Scottsdale, Arizona. I'm sure it's going to be a whale of a time. And
So can you show a picture of the great sweatshirt they get if they attend?
Yeah, for sure. Let me
No. That doesn't exist.
There it is right there. And if you look on Kirk's, it's a picture of
Chris.
Mr. Chris Otey right there. Look at that. His best gotcha look.
I love that I'm having to stoop down and Misty's trying to stand as tall as she can.
I know what's up with that. Oh, good times, guys. Good times. So well, looking forward to hearing about this one. And here's the screen once again for you. Anything else to add, guys, before I let you get back to work? Any final thoughts here before we get on with our days?
I think that's adorable that you think I'm going to go back to work after this. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. Thanks for having us, Mike. I appreciate it. It's always good to catch up with you.
Anytime, guys. Anytime. And hope to see you guys, catch up with you guys at NICUSO as well. And we'll see you there. In the meantime, keep up the good work. All right.
Awesome.
All right. Thanks, bud.
Well done, lads. Well done. And we are